Yes.
Yeah, so it is we, not you. That's one thing I always tell people. I believe that when you say public health, it concerns everybody. It concerns the government, it concerns the people, and it concerns the parents and everybody. And because every one of us, it's in a place where we say malaria is endemic. In Nigeria, malaria is endemic, which means in every part of the country, there's a possibility of you getting malaria. So it becomes a public health. There's hope because the government of Ogun State, the federal Ministry of Health, and partners are doing everything to see how we can get malaria to zero. If you listen recently, you heard that Egypt was certified free of malaria. Yes. That makes the third country in Africa. So Algeria, Cape Verde, and Egypt. So we're also hopeful we're getting there. By the statistics Nigeria have, we're also getting there. One day we'll get there also and we'll be malaria certified free.
Role of the government in ensuring that this eradication is actually, made significant and the prevalence of malaria infection is brought to the bare minimum.
So the government is at the forefront of this drive. At the federal level, the minister is leading seriously. At the state, the government of the is working with, like I said, the government at the central and also partners. And this activity we're indulging or carrying out right now is activity of the state government, Society for Family Health, Catholic Relief Services, Federal Ministry of Health, and others. We're all supporting to make sure that it is done very well. Planning. First, there was a micro planning that was done in our way, where we sent people to all the LGAs and we pulled people from every ward to get the list of settlements, to get the list of population, and how it will happen, number of net for each. That's what we've come for now.
Okay, if you just joined us, this program is Money Flight, and we are talking about the replacement campaign of insecticide-treated mosquito nets in our state. We still have as guest the project director, malaria program, Mr. John Ocholi. Now, we understand there is mosquito-treated net campaign in Ogun State again. Can you really tell us more about this?
So I like the part where you say again.
Again.
Yes. Why it's again is because if you take it down memory lane, I want to do a little statistics for people. Why do you keep talking about that? Why do you keep talking about that? But I take it on the memory line. So this is like the fifth net campaign in Ogun State. The first was in 2009. There was a 2014, a 2010 when Nigeria checked her figures for this parasite level in the community, in the people. We saw that the data showed that 45% tested positive for the malaria parasite. Now, efforts continued. Among them is the net distribution. Then there was a change from chloroquine to ACT, which is the artemisinin combination therapy. Then we moved, also happens, pulling it together and everything. By 2015, when we checked again, we saw Nigeria is at 21, which is from every 10 now, we're having two. There's a fever, you feel that's a malaria fever. Okay. There are different kinds of strong emphasis that when you feel feverish, you have headache and all those symptoms, please go do before you take ACT.
Just like it might just be fever, typhoid fever, and all
it might just be something else wrong with you. Okay? And then if you use the net in combination with all the things we are doing, we are pulling towards that place.
From these lofty initiatives, because you said in 2018, 2021, 2024, and hopefully by 2027, maybe will be certified malaria free.
We're praying so. We don't know when, but we're hoping and pushing to get there. So there will be 3.1 million nets distribution across the state, and the nets will be distributed free of charge. There are two phases for the distribution. Unlike in 21, where people will come to your house and talk with you, ask numbers, and give you the net. But this time we are doing a double phase strategy. Then it was single phase because of the COVID. We wanted to reduce contact. So this is what I was saying. You go to household, you ask them to come again. But this time for data, for statistics, for planning, when people come to your house between 31st of October up to 8th of November, they'll be given a voucher called the net card. Either they give you a net card or a net token. Then from 19th to 23rd of November, people will use this net card and go to any of the designated distribution point assigned to you. So when they are doing that mobilization with the net card, they will tell you which day come to your point and where your point will be. Yeah. Now, when people go there to get their net, they will tell them also how to use the net and all that. And one other thing we also want to do within this period is to say that for all the nets we have been distributing over the years, we want to see how we can also start to pull them back. Okay. So there's also the end of life activity, like a pilot we also want to do. So when people come to receive their net, we want them to bring their old damaged nets so that we can help to clean it up from the society, because the nets are just everywhere. We know people do repurposing. That's what we call it. People do repurposing. They use it to begin to do farming and everything and all that. But when the net is still good, we ask people to sleep inside, not repurpose it. Okay. All right. But when people, when the net is damaged and it cannot be used for anything, we want to pull them back. Then I want to add something. Okay. So because of what I've said about the statistics of malaria reducing over the years, so it's possible that you might come to a location and see that based on the environment, the way the place is set up and all that, the incidence of malaria place might not be something you might say, I want to give these people net now. There might be some other things that they will do. So in Ogun State for this campaign, we have some places that we're saying it is targeted distribution. So for those places, they will not be getting net, this net distribution, mass distribution. However, pregnant women there and children under 5 in those communities will go to government facilities designated and they can get net for free. But the general population in those places will not get net like other places. It's just to
Now, Ocholi, it is one thing to get a mosquito net. It is another thing to make sure that people use this net. What have you done in the area of sensitization on the part of the people to make them use this net? But before you respond, let's go on this break. Okay, our guest is still Mr. John Ocholi. Now, I asked you a question the other time that, okay, it is one thing to get a net, it is another thing to make use of these nets. What have you done in sensitizing people on the need to sleep under these insecticide treated nets?
So that is one area that me and you and everybody in Ogun State needs to improve on. So from statistics and data, ownership of nets across Nigeria, Ogun State ranks amongst one of the states with the most access to net because of the campaigns and other activities happening. Last count was just 22%. We have states that have as much as 70%, 50%, 60%, but Ogun State, people have the net, but they're not using it. Now, this comes with a lot of things that people begin to say. People say that the net will eat you, the net will burn you, the net will feel this. Sometimes they say it feels like I'm covered in something that is not supposed to be, maybe for cups and all that, but it's not. What we tell people is when you get the net, please add the net in a shade for 24 hours, at least 24 hours. Now, when the net is packed and all that is packed with the air it first so that you can use it well. Okay, it is when you don't air the net that people now say that cessation or the net is burning my body. But if it is aired, all that will not come. And then people will tell you when I sleep inside the net is hot. I sweat because I feel like it's hot. But I tell people when you don't use the net to sleep, you still use wrapper to up, right? But when you use the net to sleep, you can sleep light. Then the net becomes like wrapper covering you from a distance. Then you can sleep. And we advise that please help so that children, at least children under 5 and pregnant women will sleep inside the net. And once we do that, we can start telling you that the net has done this, the net has done that, and you ask them, can you show me where it has happened? They always say, I hear. You never see.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ocholi, can you just tell us about the areas in Ogun State that will not be given this net? You just mentioned some areas that targeted areas.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I said that there are places where, based on the, if I want to go into being scientific and as I say, test positivity rate, malaria endemicity, and all that comes into, you begin to look at, okay, so based on this place, based on the things we're looking. So there are places where we're doing total ward targeted distribution.
Okay.
For example, in Abeokuta North and Abeokuta South, the number of wards that are going to get is not every ward that will get it.
Okay.
So in Abeokuta North, I think about 6 or 7 wards will be getting. In Abeokuta South, it's even less because when we look at the data and statistics, we see that there are other measures that we can use in Abeokuta North, Abeokuta South, and the net. And remember what I just told you: people that have even gotten the net, especially in urban center, are not using it. So if people are not using the net in the center, probably we should take it to where they are using it, right? And then we should think of what strategy would work better in the urban center. Why don't we clean the gutters so that the population of the vector of the mosquito does not happen? Why don't we see how we can screen the window so people can stay in the houses and mosquitoes don't come in? Why don't we do AB? Why don't we do that? That's what we want to do. So a lot of places will get the net, but very few places. In some places like Adodota, Ifo, Jabode, Shagamu, or Odeda is more rural, kind of, Yeah. So Odeda, I think everybody in Odeda should be getting. But these other urban places, not ward, but some specific places, locations will not be getting the net. Okay, there'll be other things. But I said any pregnant woman or child under 5 in these places still can go to the designated health facility and get a net.
Let's open the lines. Probably we have from our callers and listeners 0803-437-9453 and 0815-032-0226. Now, before the start, okay, we have a call. Hello,
Okay.
good
Just
morning.
please take 245 seconds, please.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest there. Also, is there any price is like the one in 2021?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Price they use, they will use, and they use in 2021.
Okay, thank you,
Is this-
Mrs.
In
Ojolade.
my area, so don't like this online. What I'm asking that, now in 2021, I was part of one that shared the one in 2021. And we don't have network in my settlement. So, if there's this, what will go to happen to those areas that don't have network? That's my take.
Okay,
Okay, thank you very
Mrs.
much. We
Ojolade.
appreciate it.
Your reaction to that.
0803-437-9453.
So thank you. It takes me to the next thing I need to talk about. So yes, we'll be using devices, and the devices are actually to help us check that people are doing the work for us. Remember, offline I was saying something about technology.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that if we tell you to go and mobilize, we want to be able to see on the dashboard that the people went to where we asked them to go, and that they don't over mobilize or they don't shortchange the houses, right? And also because we're going to use that dashboard to check. Now we want to also request and inform households that when they come to your house and they give you the net card, keep it very well. When you go to the distribution point between 19th and 23rd to redeem your net, please insist that they show you what device that you're entitled to. Because if you're entitled to 4 net, we want you to get 4 net. If it's 2 net, you get 2 net. If it's 3 net, you get 3 net. We hope that the people, sometimes people say your people are not honest. We want you to help us check that honesty. All right. So when you go to a place to redeem your net and you give them the net card and they say you're entitled to 4 net, look at you're entitled to 2 net. Let it show on the device. Okay. We don't want people shortchanging people. If it's 4, they keep 1 or keep 2. But when you know what it is, you get it. Or diverting. Okay. And then we're going to open the laders and make sure that people, they would use the sale value so people don't go and sell it. Okay. Then about the technology, like she said, when we come to your place, even if there's no network, we are still able to use the device. When we go to where there's network, it will sync. Okay, it's just like you send a WhatsApp message when there's no network. When network comes, the message will deliver. Yes, so that's what happens too.
Now, Mr. Ocholi, you said something the other time that you are not allowing people to make use of this net, to repurpose it, that they should bring their old net. Okay, does that mean that if someone is not able to bring the old net, he or she might not be entitled?
Okay. We're not forcing people to bring. Okay. And we're saying damaged net, not just old net. Okay. So even if your net has stayed beyond 3 years, it can still help to prevent the vector of the mosquito from biting you. But then there are some nets, again, they are so bad and all that. So instead of littering the economy, the society with this, we're talking about environmental management. Just to give you statistics, that between 2010 and now that Nigeria started doing that, the number of ITN that have come into Nigeria is about 200, over 200 million nets. About 370 million has come into the country. But what have we done to clean them up? So we're trying to see how, even as we're giving the net now, the old one, if we can pull as much as we can pull back, we can now try to see what else they can be used.
Now, Mr. Ocholi, to the grassroots level now, because we are looking at the rural areas now. How well informed are these people, and then how prepared are they to receive this, and how optimistic are you to also get this information to them so that they would receive this message you're trying to pass across to them?
Thank you very much. So a lot of things are being done by the government, like we said, I know, but at the community level happening, even with the community leaders.
All right, let's quickly pick this. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Quickly, your question.
Yeah, my name is Titilope, calling from Awobajo. Yeah, just a question. My question is to our guest, and is I want to ask if there are my environmental officers. I know they are the environmental police, and with this, I think this will go a long way to curb malaria prevalence. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Sanitarian Akinlolu actually. So your response to that?
Yeah, so thank you for that. The thing is, like we're saying, the government in her thoughts and designs recently, it's trying to engage everybody back into the fight for. We really want to see how we can eliminate malaria, and that is why at the central level, even coming to the state, the minister now is talking about the sector-wide approach. He's not looking at it like malaria is just a health thing now. He's saying malaria has to do with environment. Malaria has to do with Ministry of Education. Malaria has to do with information. Everybody comes. So that sector-wide approach is pulling all this into play. And then when there are meetings now that are normally done that you bring only malaria health people sitting down, we want to also bring the people in. Oh, can we play together so we can get this thing going down? And I think we're going to do that more.
Okay, now, Mr. Ocholi, just before we call it a wrap, for how long will this distribution of treated nets last?
Thank you.
For a week, for a month, for a year? How many?
Yes, so just to bring it back again. So there'll be two phases, like I said. And then people come to designated places to pick up their net. So the first phase where people will go to houses will be happening between 31st of October and will run up to the 8th of November. All right. 31st of September is on Thursday. Today's Tuesday, that's like 2 days from now. So people wearing lemon green reflective jackets will start moving around and doing that to get to the houses. And then when people get the net card, it will take another 5 days or plus 2 or 1 if we have to do more for people to now go and redeem their net. That will happen between 19th and 23rd of November. So the state has been divided into smaller units that we call distribution point. We have about 1,400 distribution. People can walk within walking distance to go and redeem their net when the time comes.
Thank you so much. Two phases between 31st October and 8th November. And of course, another phase between 19th and 3rd November.
And we're hoping His Excellency has promised that the state has promised that His Excellency will be part of the flag off, which will be happening on the 18th of November.
Now, Mr. Ocholi, quickly, just what would be your message to Nigerians, especially those who are fond of reselling this mosquito insecticide treated malaria nets?
First, I want to say there's hope that we can eliminate or eradicate malaria, and that is what we are doing. We've seen in Algeria, in Africa, Nigeria is moving. Now, one of the strong things to do is to use the protection. Please, when you sleep inside the net. Children under 5 and pregnant women. The nets are given not to be sold, but to be used to protect you. If we have health, we can have money safe to use for other things. Children can grow better and the world can work better. Let us eradicate malaria from Ogun State.
Thank you very much.
Mr. John Ocholi, I want to thank you sincerely. I could remember in 2021, you were here. I was the one who engaged you. Thank you for coming once again.
Thank you very much.
All right, good to have you once again. Engaging Mr. John Ocholi, Project Director, Malaria Program, and he's been talking to us about the replacement campaign of insecticide-treated mosquito nets in Ogun State. So, all the best in your endeavors in life.
Thank you, plenty.
All right, that has been the production this morning. Many thanks to the crew. We had as editors.
Yes, the name from the newsroom. The sound manager, the personnel in the studios this lovely morning, Francis Radio Show, as well as Miriam